greetings, it's Ian from RTO here. Third video of the day. And it's another new album, and it is from the magnificent Blue Oyster Cult. And this is their 15th album. Now I thought, oh, brilliant. Oh, new album. And then when I started reading into it, I thought, oh, it's not. Because half of the songs have originally recorded between 1978 and 1983, with the exception of one track, If I Fell, which was taped in 2016. It includes a number of originals along covers of MC5's classic Kick It Out, The Jams, The Doors, Roadhouse Blues, and We've Got to Get Out of This Place by The Animals. Now, the story of this one, the archived material was originally recorded on analog, on tape by longtime band engineer George Geronis, who sent the tapes to Richie Castellano. He's also known for the Band Geek, and he's got his own channel on, and they do lots of covers. And they also, the producer Steve Schenk. Now the pair weaved their studio magic and transfers in the audio to digital. Once we made the decision on what we was going to use, we used AID mixing software to separate the elements of the original tapes, said Richie. And that's when I started going, oh dear, what is real and what isn't. And Schenk says if you add, so it gives something to the mix, but the process was even thought was getting better. It's not perfect, but if you're Peter Jackson, it's perfect. So I don't know how much of these is thing. So the album was completed in the studio with the new parts recorded by Richie Castillo and Eric and Donald, while Albert and Bouchard and Rick Downey appears on the album. I don't think there's some overdubs as well. So the first track on this one is called Last Night Street Fighting. Yes, it's classic sounding Cult. But it's the vocals, they do sound too perfect. I don't know, it doesn't sound that natural, and yeah. Cherry, great guitar work from Eric and Buck. Two great guitarists. It's really good on this track. It's one of the better tracks on the album. So Supernatural, yeah, really good. There's nothing wrong with it. Then they've got the cover of We've Got to Get Out of This Place. Absolutely awful. I don't like it. Not a patch on the Animals. Soul Drive, what a riff. I don't know if it's Eric or Duck, but boy is it good. It's one of the best tracks on the album. But the best track on the album is a track called Gun. Absolutely brilliant. Just sounding like classic Cult. I just love it. Shut in the Dark, it's okay. Some nice guitar work on it. It's just nice to hear some of these tracks that we hadn't heard. The only thing, not a great trick, a little bit wishy-washy, sort of. I wonder if it's something left over from the Club Ninja days. It's just a little bit like that. Then they do the best version on here. The cover is the great track from MC5, Kick Out the Jams. Really good version of it. Money Machine, great little bluesy track. It's not too bad either. I do like that. Don't Come Running. I'm not sure about this. It sounds classic, but I don't know how much has been interfered with. And then probably the worst version of If I Fell Ill, which is the Beatles cover. Bad. Very bad. And then you get Roadhouse Blues. Yeah, it's not a bad version. I've heard, actually, Blue Oyster Cult do. They played that when I went to see them. So they've been playing it on stage for years. And they don't do a bad version of it. Okay. I was really looking forward to this album coming out. A new album from Blue Oyster Cult. We hadn't had one for donkeys. But when I've listened to it, to me personally, I was very disappointed. It just... It falls flat. It's great hearing songs that I've never heard, but why did they have to use AI on it? Clean them up and just put them out as they were meant to be. I would have probably enjoyed it more if it was just cleaned up, remastered and put out, because I like rawness. But you don't know what was computer generated. Although they do sound like classic songs, you don't know how much of it is actually being put up. A couple of the covers are dreadful. I don't know, I was just very disappointed. You know, it's just a great shame when one of your favourite bands put out what I'd call a mediocre album. I'm probably going to get caned for this, but I just because I love Blue Oyster Cult doesn't mean I have to love every album. So I'm only going to give this a 5 out of 10. It's just not good, and it'd just be interesting where I'd put this in the ranking, which means we're going to get a tier ranking at some stage of Blue Oyster Cult. I've got to give this a little more listen before I can decide, but at the moment it only gets a 5 out of 10. Okay, that's all for this week from me on my channel, but I don't know if Simon's doing a live stream tonight, but no doubt I'll be on that. But I am definitely on the old Sodcast on that Sunday with Jimmy Barnes and Jason, where we'll be doing a tier ranking of the great top 30 selling singles of the 1970s, and apparently I'm doing all the heavy lifting because, yes, I was around then. I was a little kid in my tank top and all that good stuff. So that's what's happening over the weekend. I'll be back on Monday though, and it's what I've called a bit of a prog week. We've got lots of prog next week, and we're going to kick off with an album ranking of a very underrated prog band called Gracious, and the perfect album is a Pink Floyd album, and it's been a tough one. I still haven't made up my mind. And I'm going to pick the perfect side of Dark Side of the Moon. Oh, tough. So have a good weekend, everyone, and you'll see me popping up over the weekend, but I'll definitely see you all on Monday. Bye for now.